Today, I'm exposing 10 types of clearance items that you should never ever buy. You'll know exactly which clearance items to avoid, why stores push them so hard, and how to spot the difference between a genuine bargain and a costly mistake. So let's find out. 1. The luxury mirage. The first clearance trap is the luxury items. You see that designer bag or watch marked down from $2,000 to $1,500 and think you're getting a steal. But that fancy handbag cost exactly $57 to make. Yeah, you heard that right. $57. The rest is pure markup designed to make you feel special. Luxury brands aren't just targeting rich people anymore. They want you, the regular person scrolling Instagram dreaming of looking successful. They create fake urgency with limited editions that aren't actually limited by showing sky-high prices first, so when they drop it by 20%, your brain starts to crave that. About 75% of luxury purchases now come from middle-class people who honestly can't afford them. People are putting designer bags on credit cards, signing up for payment plans, going into serious debt for a piece of leather with a fancy logo. And many of these luxury European items are actually made in China for pennies, then they do some final touches in Europe just so they can legally say made in Italy or made in France. You're paying premium prices for regular manufacturing with premium lies. Even worse, some brands like Burberry literally burn their unsold products instead of discounting them just to keep their image exclusive. Meanwhile, you're struggling to afford their clearance items. 2. The perishable gamble. You see those yellow discount stickers on meat, milk, or produce and think you're being smart with your money. But those best buy and sell by dates? They don't actually mean the food is dangerous after that date. They just mean it won't taste as good. Most people don't know this, so stores use your confusion to push food that's been sitting around too long. When food gets marked down for clearance, it's usually because it's been mishandled somewhere along the way. Maybe it sat in the wrong temperature, got moved around too much, or wasn't stored properly. You're not just buying older food, you're buying food that might already be going bad. And that's dangerous. Food poisoning is a serious issue like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. These bacteria love temperatures between 40 and 140 degrees, and if that clearance meat wasn't kept cold enough, they've been having a party in there. People have ended up in hospitals from clear meat and dairy that looked fine, but was actually crawling with bacteria. But 1/3 of all food on Earth gets thrown away every year. That's over 1 billion tons of food going straight to the trash. And guess what? We're the biggest culprits. Regular people like you and me throw away 70% of all wasted food because we buy too much, don't store it right, or get confused by those date labels. 3. The electronic obsolescence trap. You see that laptop or phone marked way down and think you scored big, but there's a dirty secret the tech industry doesn't want you to know. Ever notice how your phone starts acting up right after the warranty ends? It's planned obsolescence. Companies literally design their products to break or become useless after a certain time. They use cheap plastic parts, soft metal screws that strip easily, and they push software updates that make your older device crawl. That amazing deal on clearance electronics? It's bait. They're hooking you into a cycle where you'll have to keep buying new stuff over and over. The cheap price up front turns into expensive replacements later. And in 2021, we threw away 57.4 million tons of electronic waste. That's heavier than the Great Wall of China. And get this, only 17% of it gets recycled properly. The rest just sit in landfills, leaking toxic chemicals like mercury and lead into our soil and water. But the worst part is how modern electronics are basically rented, not owned. Your smart TV, headphones, and even your car, they all need constant software updates to work. When companies decide to stop supporting your device, it becomes an expensive paperweight. Your smart home hub stops talking to your devices. Your headphones lose their noise canceling. Sometimes updates literally brick your device, killing it completely. The fast fashion illusion. $5 shirts, $10 dresses. Feels like you hit the jackpot, right? Wrong. These clothes are designed to fall apart after just a few wears. The average piece of clothing gets worn only 14 times before it's thrown away. These aren't real deals. They're cheap because they're junk. Stores have up to 52 new micro-seasons every year, so they're constantly dumping old inventory to make room for the next batch of disposable clothes. But the real cost is paid by our planet. The fashion industry guzzles 93 billion cubic meters of water every year. Just making one t-shirt takes 2,700 liters of water. That's more water than you drink in 3 years for one shirt that'll last 3 wears. It gets worse. Fashion creates more pollution than planes and ships combined, 10% of all carbon emissions on Earth, and 2/3 of these clothes are made from plastic fibers that shed microplastics every time you wash them. Those tiny plastic pieces end up in our water, our food, and our bodies. Every second, a garbage truck full of clothes gets dumped into landfills. In 2018 alone, America threw away 11.3 million tons of clothing. Most of it was fast fashion that people bought cheap and tossed quickly. But those constant sales and new styles trigger dopamine in your brain, the same chemical that makes gambling addictive. They create FOMO, so you feel like you're missing out if you don't buy right now. This makes you feel insecure, like you need to keep buying to stay trendy. The result? People spend way more money buying cheap clothes over and over than they would buying a few quality pieces. Plus, they're feeding a system that's literally destroying the planet. 5. The seasonal decor hoax. The holidays end, stores slash prices on Christmas lights and Halloween stuff by 75%, and you think you're being smart by buying for next year. But here's the reality check. That box of discounted ornaments will sit in your basement or attic for 11 months, taking up space you don't have. And here's what happens during those 11 months. Lights get tangled into impossible knots, ornaments break, fabric decorations get moldy, and batteries leak acid all over everything. The average family already spends $255 to $269 on holiday decorations every year. Now add storage containers, shelving, and the hassle of digging through boxes trying to find that one string of lights that might still work. Those savings disappear fast. But there's a bigger problem happening. We now have fast homeware. Cheap, trendy home decor that's designed to be thrown away just like fast fashion. Social media makes you feel like you need to constantly update your home's look to keep up with Instagram and TikTok trends. These cheap decorations are made from composite materials and chemical-based stuff like polyurethane foam that can't be recycled. Millions of these items hit landfills every year because they're built to break and go out of style quickly. The psychological trap is real. You see those clearance prices and feel FOMO, like social media makes you think you need the latest seasonal look. So you buy cheap decorations, they break or look outdated, you throw them away, and then you buy more. 6. The beauty product deception. You see that expensive foundation or lipstick marked down 70% and think you're getting designer makeup for cheap. But that bargain might come with a side of bacteria and chemical burns. Beauty products expire just like food. But unlike moldy bread, expired makeup looks totally normal while it's growing dangerous bacteria inside. It gets worse with damaged packaging. And those makeup testers everyone's been using? They're basically Petri dishes. People stick their fingers in them, use dirty brushes, and sneeze on them. You can catch staph infections, strep, even herpes from contaminated testers. There are real cases of people getting serious skin and eye infections from store makeup testers. But clearance beauty products are often fakes loaded with toxic ingredients like lead, arsenic, and industrial chemicals that can burn your skin or cause neurological damage. These counterfeit products look identical to the real thing, but contain ingredients that would never be approved for your face. Most beauty products only show a period after opening symbol, not when they were made, so that clearance item could have been sitting on shelves for years, slowly going bad. You have no way to know how old or dangerous it really is. 7. The bulk buy backfire. Buying in bulk tricks your brain with per-unit pricing. You see $2 per item instead of $3 and think you're winning, but you're spending way more up front and creating problems you didn't see coming. First problem, where are you putting all this stuff? That bulk purchase means buying extra freezers, storage bins, maybe even renting storage space. Your electricity bill goes up from running bigger appliances. Suddenly, your savings are getting eaten up by storage costs. Second problem, having more makes you use more. When you've got 50 granola bars in your pantry, you eat them faster. When you've got giant containers of everything, you get wasteful. You're actually spending more money and consuming more than you need, but most bulk deals are on stuff that goes bad quickly. Fresh produce, dairy, bread, cooking oils that go rancid after 6 months, spices that lose their punch, and condiments that spoil after opening. You end up throwing away half of what you bought, and many items go on better sales in regular sizes anyway. 8. The cheap tool hazard. You see that drill or saw marked down to crazy low prices and think you're being practical. But cheap tools aren't just bad investments, they're dangerous. They break when you need them most. You're halfway through a project, your cheap drill bit snaps, your screwdriver strips every screw head, and that bargain ladder starts wobbling under your weight. Now you're making emergency trips to buy the tool you should have bought the first time. The buy cheap, buy twice rule hits hard with tools. That $20 clearance drill will break, and fixing it costs $10, half the price of a new one. So you throw it away and buy it again. You end up spending way more than if you just bought a quality tool up front. But cheap tools can seriously hurt you. Drill bits that shatter and send metal flying at your face. Circular saws with guards that fail. Ladders that collapse while you're on them. There are real cases of people losing fingers, wrecking their hands, or worse, because their bargain tools failed at the worst possible moment. Even safety gear gets compromised. Wasted time dealing with broken tools. Multiple trips to the store, projects that take twice as long because your tools don't work right. The stress and frustration of tools failing when you're trying to get something done. Clearance tools aren't bargains. They're accidents waiting to happen that cost you more money, time, and potentially your health in the long run. 9. The used goods lottery. Ninth trap, used furniture and appliances on clearance. You see that couch for half price or that slightly used refrigerator and think you're being smart and eco-friendly. But as-is deals are basically expensive lottery tickets where you almost always lose. Here's what you can't see that'll destroy you later. That couch might have bed bugs deep in the cushions, ready to infest your entire home. The refrigerator's compressor could be dying, ready to break down the day after you get it home. Furniture with loose joints, hidden cracks, or wobbly legs that'll collapse when you need it most. Upholstered stuff is especially dangerous. Mattresses and couches can be crawling with dust mites, mold, and allergens that'll trigger breathing problems. When you buy new, you get an implied warranty, which means the thing has to actually work. With as-is clearance items, you get nothing. Zero protection. If it breaks, if it's defective, if it makes you sick, that's your problem now. And when that used appliance breaks, which it will, the repair bill is all yours. If fixing it costs half the price of buying new, you're better off throwing it away and starting over. Suddenly, your great deal cost you more than buying new in the first place. 10. The digital rights dilemma. 10th and final trap. Clearance digital games and software. You see that awesome game marked down from $60 to $10 and hit Buy Now, thinking you scored big. But you didn't buy a game, you rented a license that can disappear anytime. Remember when you bought a game disc and it was yours forever? Those days are over. Now you're just paying for permission to play, and that permission can be revoked without warning. That cheap digital game is tied to servers, accounts, and companies that can pull the plug whenever they want. Entire digital stores have closed, wiping out thousands of games people paid for. Even single-player games often need internet connections or online activation that can be cut off at any moment. And digital rights management DRM makes it worse. This anti-piracy technology locks your games to specific accounts or limits how many times you can install them. If the company goes out of business or stops supporting the game, that DRM turns your purchase into a paperweight. It's getting scary bad. The Video Game History Foundation found that 87% of classic video games are critically endangered, and only 13% of games from before 2010 can still be bought. Unlike physical games that you can keep playing forever, digital games just vanish when companies decide they're not profitable anymore. Plus, new operating systems and hardware make older software incompatible. That clearance game you bought might not even run on your computer in a few years, and there's no physical backup to fall back on. By understanding these traps, individuals can reclaim their budget, reduce clutter, protect their health, and contribute to a more sustainable world. If you like this video, then do hit the subscribe button. Until then, check out another video too.